In this video, I'll be doing a walkthrough for troubleshooting the wireless LAN in Packet Tracer. If you're studying for the Ccna, this is one of the exam topics on the new Ccna exam 200-301. This is a Packet Tracer lab. If you're not familiar with Packet Tracer, it's a free piece of software that Cisco created where you can lab stuff up. I've used it many times, just troubleshooting stuff, setting up real world scenarios, and mainly just studying for the Ccna when I was studying for it. So I decided to share this video as a resource. I definitely want to give credit to the OG of IT. If you don't know who that is, it's Keith Barker. It's his lab. I'm just going to show you and just give my walkthrough, but I'll definitely drop a link in the description below so that you guys can go tap in with him. He's got Discord. He's souped up over there. It's a great learning experience, especially for any newcomers, any beginners. Because when I first started out, it was very hard to get access to labs and everything like that, to get my hands on this stuff and make it more tangible. So that's why doing these labs are great. And this one is even better because it's a troubleshooting lab. So you start really having to develop your skills because you got to think outside the box. And it's kind of like real world. You got to think about as you're troubleshooting. Even if you go through it, you're still going to have to know how to troubleshoot. So it starts letting you build your own kind of style of troubleshooting, as well as you can take it step by step. You got your time, because it's like anything, right? You don't want to be under the gun trying to get something done. You want to already have practice, and so you just react when that situation comes up. It just comes out of kind of like a natural habit. So you can run through this lab and keep running through this lab. And when I was studying it, it was a very useful tool, because it's hard to get your hands on enterprise level wireless LAN controllers and access points to really dig deep and get into this topic. So having Packet Tracer, it's a free download, free install and everything, and it's just a great tool for you to learn and to build up that skill and develop that skill. I already got the lab set up for y'all and everything, so you already know how that goes with me if you've been rocking with me. If not, I'm the host and creator of this channel, Network Ninja. I appreciate everybody tapping into the channel. And if you don't know, I'm just trying to, I'm trying to build up, what I'm saying? Build up a community, establish a community of like-minded individuals, all trying to boss up their skills and become IT pros and experience personal and professional growth at the highest level. I already got the lab set up, so let's get it. Alright, right here you can see I'm already logged into the lab. Again, this is not my lab, it's OG of IT. So yeah, definitely go tap in with your boy, thekeithbarker.com is the website where you can get, he's got way more than just this lab. It's whatever you want. He's got a dude souped up, so definitely go check those out. But so this, just like any lab, you're gonna have lab objectives and everything. You're gonna have login information we have right here for the wireless LAN controller. These are the various components. This is the whole setup right here. We got a wireless LAN controller. These are the components we're going to be focusing on today. We got a server here. It's actually a AAA server, but it's using Radius protocol. But it's all the same. It's just basically an authentication server for the type of protocol 802.1x that we'll be using to authenticate the employee device to the network. Speaking of that, we got 2 client devices right here, and that's what the whole objective of this lab is to troubleshoot guests and the employee Wi-Fi devices, correct the issues. And then, as I learned from Keith Barker, you always want to troubleshoot, you want to configure things, but you always want to test and verify. That's with anything, whether you're doing wireless. As you see, when you get into your networking career, a lot of stuff can get fat fingered. I know we got automation definitely taking over, but you always want to verify whatever kind of setup you got going on to make sure that everything is working properly. So shout out to him for putting that. You definitely, that's a complete lab, right? To test everything, not to just troubleshoot stuff, to really test it and make sure everything is working. All right, so the first step here with this lab is that you can see we got a couple of red things right here. This is the access point 2, access point 1, so AP1, AP2. These are controller-based APs. Okay, let me get out the way real quick. So yeah, what we got here, we got AP2 and we got AP1 right here. These are controller-based APs. If you don't know what that means, I got a short video that I did on access points where it describes the different types and features that will possibly be on the CCNA exam. Of course, I don't know what kind of stuff they put on there, but it's pretty safe to say that you're going to have to know the different types, because there are several different types of access points and they all have different features and everything. But we see some red there, and then the wireless controller we see on this link between port 1013 on this multi-layer switch and gig 1 on this wireless LAN controller. This link is red and it's down. So the first things first, we're going to jump into the switch and start it off right here. All right, so you just do a show IP in brief. I just want to add, for packet tracer, a lot of this stuff is like you can't, it's an emulation software, right? Meaning that it's not the complete software there. So you're going to have to definitely, with the command syntax and everything, make sure you're choosing the right commands. I done ran through this lab 1,000 times, so I know kind of what kind of commands the software will take, because I've tried out a few and some don't work and some work. So I know show IP in brief is definitely one that'll work. Include admin. So ignore that first one. I really wanted to do to show y'all the show IP in brief, and then I just piped it to include the admin. I just passed that to that command, those parameters, and what came out was that it's administratively down. So that's a quick fix for step 1 of this lab. So you want to get in here, and I hope you downloaded the lab and follow along with me. Definitely. Or you can come back and tap in later. That's why I created this resource, so you can just tap in whenever you need to. So you're just going to do a no shut. That enables the port. Then we're just going to jump right back over to the lab. So let's go ahead and minimize that. As you can see, it greened up right there. Okay. So we got to make these green over here as well. So we go to access point. And for this one, this access point has a power adapter, but right here is where the power adapter would be plugged in. So this is your power adapter, layer 1, right? You're just going to start at layer 1 and connect it. As soon as I connected it, if you missed it, it went green right here. So you can watch this triangle, and we're going to do it again with this one. So just click here, and you just got to add the power adapter right there, and then we got a green. Alright, so now that everything is greened up and everything, what we want to start focusing on is troubleshooting these Wi-Fi devices and seeing why we don't have any wireless connectivity. As the lab progresses, you'll be able to see once wireless connectivity is established, Packet Tracer will throw up some dash lines to simulate the wireless connectivity, or those radio waves connecting to whatever access point this device decides to connect to. Since these are controller-based APs, we're going to log into this controller, and we're going to focus on the guest Wi-Fi right now, because the guest device should be a pretty easy device to get connected. So we're just going to jump right into the wireless controller, look at some of that config, and just get used to navigating there. So we do have the IP address and we have the username password right here for the wireless controller. So since these are controller-based APs, what we want to do is start off by logging into the controller. How we do that is by going into this PC and running a web browser. The reason why we're able to do this, Keith Barker has set that up, which is pretty dope, that you're able to access this wireless controller GUI through the web or the simulated web, right? And then to to get in there, you could either, we have the IP address here, the username and password. So you can use the IP address. I'm gonna show y'all another way, because Keith Barker has also set up a DNS server on this network. So you don't even have to put the IP address, you just have to put that acronym WLC for wireless controller, and hit click go. You gotta give it a second, right? Because it is still packet tracer, is still software, right? Free software or whatever. So click login and throw in those credentials: admin, Cisco, exclamation point, 23, enter. And now we in there like swimwear, right? And I wish I would have had this when I was, before I was able to get my hands on a controller. Of course, working for MSPs and just working in the network field, I was able to eventually get access to a controller, but having this access to a controller right now is golden. If you don't have, if you're just starting it out, and it's kind of hard just reading a dry book or watching videos, but once you get your hands on this stuff, like anything, man, once you start really diving into it, it starts becoming second nature, and then you just get real confident for the exam. So I just encourage everybody to definitely just lab this up and walk through it. All right, so here are all the tabs for it. I mean, this thing it's got everything that a real wireless LAN controller would have. So, I mean, this is amazing. Let's get started. Wireless LANs. We got two SSIDs. We got Corp Wi-Fi, Guest Wi-Fi. We're going to focus on the Guest Wi-Fi first. But you can already see Corp Wi-Fi is disabled, but we'll look at that in a second. Also, you got the security policies. Then you got WPA2. And then this one's using pre-share key for its authentication. And then WPA2 is just the encryption type. When I was studying for the exam, it just threw me off, all this authentication types, 802.1x, PSK, pre-share key and everything. But this really just brings it to life when you see it here. You're able to look at the GUI. Even if they show you a picture of GUI on the exam or whatever, a screenshot of a GUI on the exam, or if they're questioning you about it, you could picture this kind of setup in your head. Like if they want to know what the encryption type or authentication being used for a specific wireless SSID, you can kind of picture this. So the pre-share key is definitely going to be the same, Cisco exclamation 23. And let's go ahead and click on that guy and look at some of how it's configured. Everything's enabled. You got the profile name, SSID name, everything's enabled. It looks like everything is good to go for the guest Wi-Fi. So now all we have to do is check out what the config on the device is doing, right? So just click on that device and you go to the config tab, and then you're going to go to wireless 0 interface, and off rip you can see SSID right here. The SSID that's being broadcast, or that we had up there, let me pull that guy back up. The SSID is all one word, guest Wi-Fi. And then, as you can see here, guest Wi-Fi has a dash in it, so that ain't gonna work. You gotta take that out, make it all one word. Also, authentication now. Authentication is disabled, so you wanna go WPA2 for the authentication type, and it's using pre-share key. And again, I told you pre-share key should be this guy. And once we're done with that, that should take effect. And then we just got to give packet tracer a little bit to catch up, and everything should connect for the guest Wi-Fi. So let's close out of this, minimize this, and as you can see, like I said, those dash lines, we got connectivity. So we saw at least the wireless connectivity portion for this. We know that this AP can communicate with this device, but we don't know how far in the network this guy can get. Can he only get to the AP? Can he get to the switch? Can he get to the switch? Can he get to the wireless controller? and you get out to the internet, which is the main goal, right? But we'll test that later. But right now we solved that issue. Now let's focus on the employee device. So again, we're going to go back into the wireless controller, go back to wireless LANs, and look at the Corp Wi-Fi SSID, which is right here. As we can see, the admin status is disabled. We got security policies here. Encryption type WPA2, authentication being used is 802.1x. 802.1x used to super confuse me. Basically, all it means is that there's going to be some type of username and password, whereas pre-share key, all you have to do when I think of PSK, I just think of my home router. So just like you have a home router, and if your boy the network ninja wanted to slide through and I needed to get on the Wi-Fi, I would have to ask you for the pre-share key. But we don't talk like that. We say, what's the password to your Wi-Fi? You provide that to me, and then I'm able to get onto your wireless LAN. But if you're talking technical, if you're talking to like a network guru, it's going to be pre-share key. But 802.1x requires a username and password. Okay? So let's click on here. And once you click on this guy, you see that the status is not enabled. You just enable that. And then for this one, okay, so once you enable that, we're going to move to the security tab. After we enabled the SSID, we have to move to the security tab for Corp Wi-Fi because there's some more configuration here, right? We got 802.1x, which is enabled. Pre-share key is not enabled. You got your WPA2 parameters, the encryption type is AES and all of that there. But we have to click on the AAA servers tab. And as you can see, this SSID is configured to use an authentication server. So why did we have to click on the AAA servers tab? Because we've seen back here when we're at wireless LAN, or I could even show you there that we're using 802.1x. So for that reason, you have to click on that AAA servers tab to look at the configuration of the authentication server, as you can see, that you're communicating with. It is enabled, has an IP address of 10.30.0.10, and is communicating on port 1812. So again, we'll just minimize that. This is the authentication server right here. So what we want to do now is look on the employee device and look at his config. So we go to the config tab, wireless 0. And as we can see, the SSID is incorrect here as well. So Corp Wi-Fi should be all one word. However, the authentication this time is correct. WPA2, we've seen that. That's what it's supposed to be using as far as its encryption, is WPA2. However, we see a user ID and password here, a Cisco 2.3 and a user ID of Bill. So we need to verify in our authentication server that we have a configuration for this user to get access to the Corp Wi-Fi. So let's close out of here and let's look into the authentication server. So you click him, you're going to go to services tab and then AAA right here to look at all the config for the AAA. So let me maximize that for y'all. So for the service, you see that it's on, and then the radius port, right? The port that this AAA server is communicating on is 6783. Now, in the wireless controller, we see the port that the wireless controller is communicating to this authentication server is on 1812. So 6783 is incorrect. We got to put 1812 because that's what's configured on the controller, right? That's one thing that we have to change. The next thing that we have to change here is when we drop down here to the user setup, we see Bob and Lois. We don't have a bill configured right here in the user setup. We don't have a bill right here. So simply add them by typing in Bill's name right here, Bill for the username, Password is going to be the same as the other one, CISCO exclamation point 23. And then all you have to do is add. So add that, and we can close this because that's all done. And we can close this because that's all done. And then hopefully this guy should start communicating here. All right, so I forgot to mention, after we enabled everything right here, I just wanted to show you guys this. You do have to click apply for the changes to take effect. I just clicked apply before, so I'm just going to cancel out of this. But you do have to click apply for this to take effect, because if not, it won't. So let me minimize that. And as you can see, we have connectivity here now. So the very last thing we're going to do for our lab objectives, like I said, we got the wireless connectivity going on to the APs. Now we just got to test it and verify that it is working by opening the browser and going to http://thekeithbarker.com. And for these to test them, you go to desktop and throw up a browser here. Let me see if I can get both of them. All right, so we got both of them up at the same time. All right, so we're gonna go to http. So boom, we have both of them connected to thekeithbarker.com. And this one, I'll go to this link. Should pull up the link to his Discord. And then this one, pull up a link to like his YouTube information. We go back. And then thekeithbarker.com. Just testing out all the links, and they should just display just a web page right there. And that will show you that everything is working with the guest device right here and the employee device right there. Alright ninjas, that was pretty much it. We just ran through, we troubleshot the wireless LAN, went through a couple of the configuration on that AAA server that was set up to verify the services were running correctly for authentication services. And then we tested and verified the wireless connectivity from both of the devices that were affected, and we were able to successfully get them connected to the wireless, and then more importantly, able to browse the web. So I hope you guys gained some kind of value, found something interesting. If not, I encourage you again to just go do the lab on your own and walk through it yourself. Please use this video, or definitely the OG of IT's video, because you know what I'm saying, that's where I learned it from. You already know. Please, if you guys are feeling the content, man, go ahead and hit your boy with a like. Go ahead and give me that sub. And I appreciate it. Share the video, comment, drop a comment. If you guys aren't feeling these lab videos, these CCNA videos, y'all want to do some hacking stuff, I'm fairly new to that hacking arena, but I got labs set up for days for that as well. I got labs for CCNA. I got labs for CCNP. I got FortiGate labs ready to go for y'all. I'm gonna start dropping those, but I'm gonna start dropping my my hacking videos as well. Wi-Fi hacking, if y'all are into that, just let me know. I'm trying to connect with y'all. I'm trying to grow myself. I'm trying to grow this channel. So please turn me up. Yeah, now you know I'm gonna get up out of here. So it's been nice tapping in with y'all. So holla at your boy. Ninja Vanish.